What is greenwashing? It's when a company pretends to be or presents itself as more green than it actually is. It often aims to put you at ease, or even make you feel like you're doing something good by buying that product. And it can escalate to some really extreme cases where, people can now be fined for greenwashing. Why do companies do it? They do it to capture a larger audience, especially now that people are becoming more conscious of green initiatives, and to compete with other companies for customers, but also to get themselves, although fake, a good reputation. And research shared by Ethical Consumer showed that actually up to 50% of imagery and writing on food, cosmetics and clothing companies' websites can be greenwashing. In terms of clothing companies, that can be up to 90% of what they put on their website could be greenwashing. Ethical Consumer then follow this up by explaining how to look out for greenwashing, how to identify it. And sometimes it is quite difficult. Firstly, you want to look at the words they're using. It might say sustainable, it might say green, and you want to actually think, is this sustainable or are they just using the word? For instance, something might say sustainable packaging, let's say, because it's 30% recycled plastics. But actually, the other 70% is not. So is that sustainable to you? Because 30% is the bare minimum for something being produced. A good example is this piece of clothing here, where actually it says organic cotton, but you read on and actually it's ignoring the elastane within this product. So you want to be checking kind of past the headlines, past the big bold statements that claim sustainability and maybe renewability or whatever it might be, circular process. You want to look past that and actually read kind of the small print, which they might not be wanting you to see. Greenwashing often tries to capture your eyes from seeing something else. You also want to look at the company who owns whoever's made the product that you're buying. For instance, Vivera, which is a vegan alternative company, but it's actually owned by JBS, I think the second largest meat company in the world. And then the other way of identifying greenwashers is actually by comparing the company that you're using, for instance the bank that you're using that says it's investing in green renewable processes and initiatives, but another bank actually refuses any fossil fuel investments and only funds green initiatives. And suddenly you see that perhaps the bank in this case, or the company that you are choosing, is not quite as green and ethical. What to do when you actually find a greenwasher? I would suggest boycotting them. Personally, I would be boycotting them. Secondly, you can report them, because if it's beyond a certain point, greenwashing and pretending to have environmental values that they don't, there are fines for this now. And thirdly, writing to them and letting them know that you refuse to buy their products now, and you tell others about it, and really kind of tell them that they've lost a customer, because they will listen to you. If we all speak up and all say that, we're not buying this because of XYZ, they will change XYZ. A great example of greenwashing. Do I say which airline it was? I'll cover a part of the name. So this is a little bit of my boarding pass. It was totally unavoidable. It was part of my degree. I did try and find other ways to get there, but in the end I had to do this. Now on the back of this boarding pass it says, "Save the planet, #0 waste." Where do I begin? It gets better. It's not just an airline trying to pretend to be green. They go a step further in that they're actually saying next time you fly, you could go paper free. Therefore, they're not actually saying that I've done anything good. On the thing that they're saying for you to avoid is this green planet with a plant and a plane flying around the planet, almost planting that plant, as though the plane is in some way saving the planet. And on top of that, there was no option to go paperless. I had the boarding pass on my phone so that I didn't have to have a printed boarding pass, which is the thing that they're saying, quite rightly, isn't very environmentally friendly. But then they didn't let me through with that. I then got there and they printed it. So that is a really good example of greenwashing. Also, the fact that they think that their paper boarding passes is their main priority is baffling to me. But can you see that for someone who doesn't understand greenwashing, this could really, really make you think that you're doing something good. You might look at it and think, oh wow, you know, such and such airlines are really doing their bit. Wow, such and such airlines are really good for the environment. This is greenwashing.